Hey guys, Basham is back for a third one of these things, these rambles, as I shift in my chair. One of these third epic things, and today we're going to be talking about a comic today called Superman Red and Blue. Now, the thing about this comic series is that it's 6 issues of Superman stories, all made by different writers and different artists, and basically primarily colored in with red and blue, which is his freaking suit color. And they're little bite-sized pieces of Superman stories, as I said, all from different writers. They're typically a few pages long, like 3 to 5 to 10 pages, depending on the one. And it's just a collection of Superman stories that show the themes of his character, his characterization, and just what he represents as a character. So I'm basically going to talk about each one. I've got the comic pulled up here. Maybe not every single one, but the ones that stood out to me the most. And the thing about it is, overall, I really, really enjoyed this, reading through this, all these stories. They're really beautifully amazing, and they just show what Superman is like as a character and just what he means to so many people and what he means to me. I watched the new Superman movie and I freaking loved it to death, so I was inspired to read this comic. And I would say the first few of these stories are pretty excellent in terms of art. Well, they're pretty good in terms of the art, but a lot of the dialogue, especially in these early ones, is just not that great. The characters don't sound real, they just sound like mouthpieces for themes, if that makes sense. Like, they don't feel like real characters, but the themes they're spouting are amazing. So, we're going to skip the first one because it didn't mean too much to me, but we're going to talk about the second one, which is called The Measure of Hope. And this one is basically about a woman who has now passed on, and her son is there at the funeral holding her urn, and Superman comes to the funeral. And Superman is like, oh my god, I'm freaking sorry I wasn't here earlier. Which shows his guilt for all of the things he misses. Even though he does so much, he still feels a guilt in his heart for the things that he misses, right? Because he sees a lot, he hears a lot, he's got superpowers. He uses his eyes to see things from freaking miles away, he hears things from miles away, and he uses his speed to get there and take care of everything, but he still can't catch everything. He does so much and can't catch everything, and that's what this one's kind of about. Is that this man's mother died from a drug overdose, and even he's basically criticizing and loving on Superman, being like, "Oh my God, like you could have done more. You could have destroyed drugs in order to freaking save my mom." But at the end of the day, it is what it is. Because when he was a kid, Superman saved him. And I know I'm not explaining this right, but I don't really give a frick. I'm just kind of rambling. So after Superman saves the kid walks in on his mom shooting up the heroin, and he's like, "Oh my god, that changes everything." And she never wanted him to see that. She never wanted him to know about that. She wanted to fight that battle. She wanted to fight that battle alone, and it changed everything for him. And it's a very sad story because it's so personal and so real, and yet Superman just feels so much regret, and he wants to do even better. And at the end of the comic, he basically promises to do better. He puts the woman's urn on the moon and puts a little funeral pamphlet on the moon as well, and he basically says, "I'm going to do better," because it's something that he feels he could have prevented by destroying the drug influx, etc. And she battled with those drugs for a very, very long time. And it just shows that Superman cares about everything and that he wishes he could do more. Even though he battles these guys all the time, kills them, stops them, etc., saves so many people, he still feels, oh man. And even the kid who was saved feels a resentment to Superman for not stopping, for not doing more. And I think that's the interesting part about this little comic segment, is that it's so human to feel a resentment there. Even though Superman does everything he can, he still lost his mom, and his mom battled for so many years over this addiction, and he just wished he could do more. And a little segment about this comic is that the guy wrote Superman a letter, and he gets so many letters, but he makes time to read them all, and it's just so freaking wholesome. That Superman. And that's how we learned about this funeral and stuff. And yeah, it's just a sad little comic because he doesn't fight anybody, or I mean he does in like a little part of it, but it doesn't even matter. Either way, it's great. Um, it's just sad, and he promises to do better, and he asks for forgiveness, and it's just beautiful. The weight of that's on Superman's shoulders, can't even imagine it. All that he does, and he still feels the loss of the people that he can't save. It's just great. Now the one after this is called The Boy Who Saved Superman, and this one's basically, as it states, it's basically a thing where a guy basically puts himself at risk to save Superman in a burning building, and just everything's falling apart. There are other people there. It's like, oh my god, everything's falling apart. The building's falling down, and Superman's indisposed, and the kid is having to drag him away. And there's other people there who he's like, the kid is like, help, 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 and they can't do it because they're scared. They try at first, and then it gets too scary, but he keeps going. And eventually he even loses his arm, his hand. It gets crushed in saving Superman, and Superman eventually gets up because of the sunlight, and he saves the kid. But he was saved, and then he fights the robot, and it wins. And I just like these little stories of like the people that motivate Superman. Superman doesn't do this alone. He never does this alone. He gets saved so many times. He gets put in bad spots so many times. He's not perfect. There are so many battles that he almost loses, yet because that he's a beacon of hope, people stick their necks out for him. He inspires others to stick their necks out for him. And that, in turn, inspires him to keep sticking his neck out for other people. It's a beautiful cycle. And that's what I love about the Superman character, is that he's always doing his best, which causes other people to do their best. They see that, and they rise to meet him because they know what he is and what he does. They feel it. And it's just the power of humanity, really, the power of what humans are capable of. And that's what I like about this little segment, is that it shows that even though he's just a human, even though he was just a kid, even though the odds were completely stacked against him, he rose to the challenge, and he even had to give a sacrifice. But because he did not want his home to die, to lose, etc., he gave his hand for Superman. And in turn, Superman became his biggest fan. he in turn became the world's biggest fan of this kid. And it's great. And the art is so good. Like the minimalist coloring of like all the red and then the blue of Superman, and there's some brown in there just to kind of differentiate. But other than that, like it's a beautiful looking comic. And I know you can't see it because I'm lazy, but it's good. And the next one, is there not even a title for this next one? Maybe there is one at the end. Yeah, called Human Colors. And this one's really interesting to me. So, Human Colors is basically about a fifth dimensional imp that comes to Earth and takes away all of the color of Earth just for fun. And nobody remembers it. He made it so that nobody can remember the fact that colors don't exist. The world is in complete black and white. And the imp has a conversation with Superman and kind of tells him about this, and he's like, whatever. And the imp basically gives him a choice. It's like, okay, I'll give the colors back if you freaking want, but the choice is up to you. Here's a little box, and you can have all the colors in the world back. You can change the way the world works. It's all in this box. Just open it up. And so the main conflict of this comic is that he goes to Batman, he goes to Lois, and he's like, what do I do? Like, do I completely change the world as it is and make it into something better, or do I leave it the way it is and just kind of let it be, let it play out that way? Because he feels something's missing. He feels it in his heart. He can't describe it, but he feels that all of the colors on Earth are gone. And I think this is one of my favorites in this little collection series, because it's just so unique and such an interesting thing, and it does. Superman is so in character in this because he has to make this choice, and he's so doubtful. And that's a lot of the Superman characters. He makes so many choices, and yet he still feels that doubt every single day. He feels, did I make the right choice? Did I do the right thing? He even goes to visit Batman and asks him, like, hey, what do I do? And Batman is obviously like, leave it be, whatever, it's fine. And that's pretty in character for Batman too. Of like he doesn't want to risk that. He lives in a world of black and white anyway. But Superman's not like that. He's like, these colors are important. I just feel the importance. I feel the importance of the sunrise, and I can't see that. And so he goes to Lois, and she's like, well, just introduce them slowly. You know, just put a little bit there, Clark. It's gonna be okay. And he starts putting them in, and it has a great effect, a beautiful effect. But he still isn't sure whether he made the right choice. He he brings all the colors back, and the sunrise is beautiful, but he doesn't even know if he made the right choice. And that's such a core to the Superman character. He's doing good. He does what he believes is good, and he's inspired. He's giving beautiful layers to life, yet he still doesn't know whether or not it was the right move, and yet he keeps going anyway. And that's so inspiring to me, that even though you feel doubt, you have to do what you believe in. You have to do what you feel is right and keep going. And so obviously when he releases the colors, because the comic is in black and white, and then when he releases the colors, the beautiful coloring comes in, and it's just amazing. The red and the blue, and just everything starts coming in, and it looks amazing. Even though it's only a few pages long, it's drawn so well and just done so well, and it's a lovely bite-sized comic. I love this. Is one of my favorites of it. But the next one, I'm not the biggest fan of this one because there's like the characters don't really talk like humans. Um, this one's basically about Superman as a kid before he even becomes Superman. He's 5 years old, and it's about him in kindergarten making a choice of whether to talk to a girl who's all by herself and alone in school, because he doesn't want to lose the friendships that he has with the other kids in school, and he's worried about, oh, do they hate her? Will they hate me if I talk to her? Blah blah blah. And his parents are like, you got to do the right thing, and so he talks to her, and it's fine, and everyone plays with her. The kids just don't really talk like kids, and it doesn't. The art is great, but it doesn't feel real. And I like the idea that they're going for. I just didn't think the dialogue was executed in the way I wanted it to be. But it's a good, cute little comic, and that's what I'll say about that one. So, here, this next one, I don't really want to go into that one because I'm lazy. This one, neither. I'm skipping through here just to talk about the stuff that I really wanna talk about. Here's one that I kind of liked. Is a girl is at show and tell, and she's basically talking about Superman and how he saved her life, and he gave her a little piece of a robot heart because the robot was attacking Metropolis, and he killed it and gave the little heart to her, which is actually kind of crazy if you're all about robot rights, but whatever. Um, and basically everyone calls her a big liar, right? They say, "Oh, you're lying. Superman wouldn't do that." All the kids in the class are laughing. Even the teacher is kind of like, "All right, let's not do this. Let just freaking stop." And she's like, "No, no, I really did. He really did fight a robot. And I really did get his heart. I really did help him because she helped him and she was making sure that he was fine, etc." And he loved that. He was like, "That's very brave, but you gotta be safe first," because he got hit and she was making sure he was okay. And he gave her the memento, and she calls it memento instead, and all the kids make fun of her because she's like freaking 5 years old, and it's really sad. And she's so down. And they go out to the playground and start bullying her. They take her cape because she made her own Superman cape because she's a big fan. They take her cape and bully her. And it obviously concludes, like, it's kind of an obvious conclusion, but Superman comes to the school and he's like, she wasn't lying. Actually, I did do that, and she's amazing. You're amazing, little girl. You're awesome. Your actions are what make you a hero." And it's a beautiful conclusion just because Superman makes time for everybody and everything. No matter how small, no matter what type of problem it is, he makes freaking time for it. He's able to go be there for a girl and help her in her time of need, even though it really isn't that big of a thing. It reaffirms that she needs to keep being her and keep doing the right thing, right? Otherwise, those kids would bully her into thinking never to freaking talk again, and it would just be a sad little thing. But he saved her from possibly becoming a bitter, sad person, right? And I know I'm reading too much into this because I'm sure the creators weren't even thinking of it, but he basically saved her from just becoming worse, you know? And he basically said, "Keep your chin up." And all the kids apologized, and they're like, "We're sorry. We believe you now." And it's just great, man. And he, right at the end of the comic, he gives her a wink and a thumbs up. And the sweet thing that I like about it is he takes his cape off and gives it to her. So she has his Superman's cape now, his real cape, and it's great. Oh man, I love it. It's just such a sweet gesture from a sweet guy. That's why I love Superman. He's just a sweetie pie. He's just a dang old sweetie pie, and it's beautiful. So let's go through that one. This next one is pretty interesting. Not my favorite one, but it's basically about Batman and Wonder Woman being at dinner, and in their human forms, they're not in costume or nothing, and they put a bet on whether Superman's going to arrive in time, or and they're just kind of talking about all the things he does and all the things he has to juggle, but he still gets there in the end. Like even though he has to do so many things, he still is make sure that he's on time, even though he has so much to balance. And it's like, what's your excuse, mother effer? He has to save all these people, and yet he's still on time for his friends. He has all these problems you have to solve: bombs, freaking explosions, etc., freaking disasters, villains, everything you can think of under the freaking yellow sun, and he still makes it there. And it's framed about like a little debate slash discussion that Batman and Wonder Woman are having about it, but he gets there. He meets the deadline and he does it, and he's there, and Batman wins, and it's freaking wholesome. Because it is who Superman is. Oh, here's one of my freaking favorite ones. And I know I'm gonna be freaking talking for 85 hours, but I don't even give a flip. This one's one of my favorites. So this is a guy that's being interviewed because he saved Superman's life, and over the years he had been saved numerous times by Superman, and it shows Superman from different eras saving him throughout many situations. This poor guy being in all of these freaking situations, and what probably my favorite moment of this, because he's getting interviewed for saving Superman once, right? When he was getting attacked by robots, he was shot by kryptonite, and this guy's a doctor, so he saved the guy. He saved Superman, completely saved his life. And I just want to, they became friends over the time that Superman saved him. And my favorite freaking panel in this one is that they become friends, and he says that they've had lunch together 4 times. He never gets to finish it, but he always tries. And I think it's one of my favorite lines in this whole book, is that he, even though he fails at it, like he still tries to make time for this guy. He tries his best, but other things pop up. He still has to save people, but he always does his best. And he says, "That's what changed my life. Superman always tries. And if I'm only here because of him, then when life gets hard, when I get afraid, all I know how to do is what Superman would do. I try." And oh man, I'm getting goose pimples. I'm getting goose pimples right now just thinking of this one, because oh, it's very motivating. Because it's like, well, I know it's fake, I know it's a comic, but Superman as a character is just so inspiring because he goes through so much pain and sadness and torment, and yet he's always trying. He's always doing his best. Even if he fails, even if things are bad, he keeps going, he keeps trying. He doesn't let it all get to him, and it's just great. It's so inspiring. And it really it opens your eyes, guys. It opens your freaking eyes, and it makes you go, whoa, even though all this bad stuff's going on in my life, all these bad feelings are going on in my life, I still need to try. I still need to put one foot in front of the other and keep trying. And the comic basically concludes with a guy trying to kill Superman in the news thing when he's getting interviewed, and the guy saves him again for the second time, and it's freaking great. They save each other, and it's just great. It's called A Man Most Saved, so he just saved 13 times by Superman, and they have a nice hearty handshake at the end, and it's beautiful. They're good buddies. And that's one of my favorite ones because it's as I was saying earlier, he inspires people to rise to the occasion. And as a reader, he does the same thing for me. And it's just freaking, it's beautiful. It's beautiful. Let's see. Let's see. Which one do I want to talk about now? Mm, the Mr. Mixapitalik one is pretty good, but I don't really need to go into it too much. Da, da, da. A lot of these are good, don't get me wrong. I'm just not really talking about them because they just didn't move me personally. As I said, some of them are better than others, and I don't really want to get into that to some of these just because whatever. Because I'm a stinky pot. Because I'm a freaking stinky pot. Let's see. Oh, okay. This one is my absolute favorite. So this is the second one with Mr. Mixus Pitalik, he's called. He is basically a fifth dimensional imp, which means that he's basically all powerful. For the sake of this discussion, he's all powerful. And it also involves Superman's counterpart Bizarro. And I don't even know how to explain him. He's basically just how do you even explain him? He's not necessarily evil. He's like just a lot dumber, I guess. And he's just a sad character. So I'm kind of gonna go through this one because it's my favorite. Um, it's Bizarro's birthday, and he's in his own little fortress of solitude. Because he's the counterpart of Superman, and Superman has a fortress of solitude. And it's his birthday, and he has a little birthday cake, but he's all alone. And people are there. It says he celebrates surrounded by his friends, but they're not actually. And it shows the Justice League, but they're creations of Mr. Mixus Pitalik. You find out at the end of the comic, and they're basically making fun of him and being evil. And so they're celebrating, having a good time, and it seems like it's beautiful. It seems like it's amazing. But he opens up a card from Superman, and it basically says like, "You're a cheap copy. You suck. What are you? You're disgusting." It's basically Mr. Mixus Pitalik. He's a prankster, and he's making fun of this poor freaking creature, this poor sad creature. And he just gets really sad. He's vulnerable, and I'm gonna read a part of this that I really like. Let me try and find it. Let's see. Humans have been giving one another gifts on their birthdays since at least the first century. At its most basic, to celebrate survival. We no longer question what the gift represents. Is a gift a token of appreciation and love, or is it a consolation for those whose remaining days have grown few? We spend birthdays with those we love and trust. Naturally, thoughts of beginnings are followed by thoughts of how they will end. We're exposed. We're vulnerable. To open ourselves to potential harm is among the greatest gifts we can give. Our soft underbellies exposed, trusting that this offering will not be used against us, that these moments will serve to strengthen the bonds that connect us. We reveal our hearts to show we don't fear that we will be preyed upon. But predators exist. Opportunity is what they seek. We don't wish to suffer alone. Joy is greatest as a shared experience. So we open the door and hope nothing ugly walks in. We take the chance lest we face down mortality in our own lonesome dread. This is the vulnerability it seeks. An imp of the fifth dimension. Imagination. A thing that feeds on the deep pain of imagined friendships, a desire to belong. We tell ourselves it's worth the risk. That the world is mostly populated by folks like us. The mistakes. The anomalies, the neglected and misunderstood, the bizarre. But if we're all this way, afraid of ourselves, afraid to live and die alone, how do we not see that same fear reflected in the faces of others? Are they more brave, more heroic, or are their wounds so deep they're no longer visible, secreted away in a fortress of solitude? And so what happens towards the end there is Bizarro starts fighting the illusions that Mixus Pitalik creates because he's freaking angry at the freaking guy. Like, he's so just sad and alone. And then, at the very end, after he beats all that, after he explodes, he gets out of his own fortress, and he's crying, he's alone, he's sad. But guess who comes is Superman. He comes, and he gives him a little cupcake, and he lights it up with his freaking thingamabob. He's real. He's there and he's real and he's there for Bizarro, even though it's his enemy, even though it's he's not necessarily a good guy. He's just he does a lot of bad stuff, but he's misunderstood. Like I said in the freaking monologue I just did from the comic or whatever, he's misunderstood and sad and alone and lonely, and I think everybody can relate to that. And I think all we can do is be there for other people despite those wounds that we all have. Because Superman as a character is exactly like that. He is alone because he's from another planet, He's alone because he's different from everybody, but he still does what he can to make others feel like they aren't alone. And I think that's one of the many beauties of the Superman character is that no matter how alone he feels, he does his best to show everyone around him that they aren't alone. And oh man, it's great. This one's definitely my favorite, just because I just relate to Bizarro because I'm a mistake. I'm an anomaly. But in all seriousness, I love it. I just love the image at the very end of Superman being there with a cupcake, and Bizarro's all happy. He's smiling. He's happy that someone's actually there for him. That one's just great. That one's just freaking awesome, man. Gotta be honest, guys. I'm getting bored of talking. But you know what? We're just gonna say no. Frick that. Another one that illustrates the loneliness of the Superman character is called Fetch, and it shows the origin of how Crypto came to be. Crypto, the super dog, Superman's pet, and it's basically Superman as a kid with his parents, and he's sad. He's just sad. For whatever reason, he's just sad, and they can't. His parents try to talk to him, but he won't. He won't say anything. He just won't. He's morose. He's sad. He's depressed. And something crashes. He hears something crash because of his superhuman abilities. He hears a crash and he goes running for it. He's like da, 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 running faster than Sonic. And it's another Kryptonian ship. And a little doggy's in there. He's like, "Hi doggy. Hi little doggy." And he learns that the dog is like superpowered. He's really strong, he's really fast. And the dog starts freaking running faster than Sonic, and then Clark does the same thing. He runs after him. They have a little bit of time. Um, and it shows a little thing from Clark's biological dad from Krypton, the exploded planet, and it shows him playing with Crypto on Krypton, just to like relate to him and stuff like that. And now they're reunited, and Clark is playing fetch with him. He's throwing it farther than anywhere. Crypto runs after it, shoom, shoom, freaking gets him. And basically, the point of this comic is that he finally relates to something. There's something that's finally like him. There's something that he finally feels is a true friend, because Crypto has the same powers as him, and they're freaking buddies. And it's just about the bond that we share with our pets. It's just we just inherently relate to them. They just love us, and we love them, and that's the very last line is, besides every kid needs a dog, and it's just so wholesome. It's just so wholesome to see little Clark Kent feeling less lonely because of this creature and saying, "I'm not alone. There's someone else like me." Because as I've been going on about, as I've been yapping about, Clark has an inherent loneliness to him because of his powers, because he's so different from everybody else. And no matter how loved, no matter how cherished he is, he still feels that loneliness just because he's different. Even though he knows he's loved and he knows he's cared about and he loves and he cares, but because he has that difference from people, he can't truly feel whole. He can't truly feel like he's not alone. But Crypto, at least in this comic, in this little sliver of a comic, helps him. Because he is similar to Crypto, and Crypto's similar to him. And it's great. It's freaking awesome. It's awesome sauce, man. Man, I just love that one. Man, I just freaking love that one. Let's go through. Okay, this one's awesome. This one is kind of iconic. This one right here is iconic because there's a panel from it that a lot of people like to share on Twitter and stuff. But this one starts with Jonathan Kent, which is Clark's adoptive father. When Clark is a baby, he goes to the church and he's talking to the priest and he's like, "I'm worried, Father. I haven't been here in years. I'm worried. I don't know what I'm doing. I have a son now and I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just a freaking I don't know what to do. I'm just a guy from Kansas. I'm just a farmer. I don't know anything about the world. Like how am I gonna raise a kid? especially from another planet. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know anything. And the priest basically just tells him, like, give him love. Give him love and tell him you love him. Tell him you love him. Tell him you're proud. Tell him all these things. It's gonna be okay. Show the world that you love him. Show everyone that you love him. That's what you have to give. Because Jonathan even asked the priest, like, what do I have to give? I'm just a farmer. And he says, give him love. Give him love and kindness. And it shows a repeated motif, if you will, just a repeated line in the comic throughout time of Jonathan holding little Clark and saying, you're special. And then as he's walking, he says, I love you. And then as they're planting on the farm, he says, I'm proud of you. And again, he says, you're special. I'm proud of you. I love you. You're special. I love you. I'm proud of you. You're special. I love you. I'm proud of you. Over and over throughout everything. It's just amazing. Like, no matter, throughout the love, throughout the hate, throughout everything in Clark's life, he's repeatedly telling him, you're amazing and I'm so proud of you. And then it shows Jonathan's grave. And after that, it transitions to Clark as Superman, telling the people he saves, you're special. I love you. I'm proud of you. All these different people, the homeless, the children, the people he's saving from fires, people in the pandemic with masks on. Because this came out in 2022. And so he's saying, oh, excuse me, dang girl. And at the very end, it shows him flying out into space, and he's looking at the entire Earth. And I think I might try to include this panel as the thumbnail for the video or whatever. He's saying, I love you to the whole planet. You're special. I love you. I'm so proud of you to the whole planet. Everybody. No matter what they do, man. Frick. Whew. It's a great one, man. It's great. I can't even like analyze anymore because I'm getting emotional over it. That might be the last one I want to talk about. Let's see. I'm just kind of looking around through the rest of these. I think that's probably the last one I want to talk about. Yeah, that's the last one. So this was a bit of a long one, but yeah, I just really love this comic. If you want to read it for yourself, go ahead. But like I said, a lot of the little bite-sized segment aren't the best, but they're still good. Like, they're still worth reading, and they still illustrate Superman as a character really well, and just what he represents, as I've said several thousand times by now. So yeah, peace, YouTube. Peace, YouTube.